Hello there. Oh, we're gonna have fun with this one. Disclaimer, I guess, trigger warning. If you don't like people talking against religion on a constitutional level, and you don't like the Constitution, then this is not the video for you. But then again, if you listen, you might learn something. But this is based on, I'm going to provide a link to the video. Now, I'm commenting on literally like not even the first minute of the clip. Like, it's within the first minute of the clip. It's just a guy talking, and my eyes rolled so far in the back of my head that I could see my brain. And then I wanted to half shoot myself. This is a tired ass fucking argument. So this guy was talking about how the secular left that's a funny term, because the entirety of the United States and its conception is secular. It's not a left-wing thing. It's not a right-wing thing. At least it never used to be. Apparently it is now. But secularism means that you keep things like religion out of legislation. It's a pretty simple concept. And it was, at its time, unprecedented when they first did it at the beginning of this country. And they put it, the very secular statement that makes and shows this is secular, in the First Amendment. I know I've gone over this 100 frickin' times. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. That's the first clause of the First Amendment. And of course then it goes on to freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and freedom to protest. Okay? So this guy's talking about how the left wing secular and Soros funded and all these talking points, and how the left is taking God out of our country and everything, and that we need to, instead of excluding God, we need to double down on God, which would be violating the First Amendment of the Constitution, because that would be establishing a religion. I mean, these people don't really even know what America is about. We're not taking away anybody's religion. You want to be religious? Be religious. Just don't push it down our throats. Don't expect us to be religious either, because there's many different other religions, different other denominations. There's just all kinds of differences. I'm an atheist. My wife is, I wouldn't call her an atheist, but what are the freaking hours here? And there's people in the parking lot. Anyways, I'm an atheist. This one looks like it might be open. What's the hours? 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Cool. Cool. Alright. So, yeah. another one real quick while I'm doing this video. And then I'm going to go and get a headlight. So, nobody's trying to take away your religion. Nobody's trying to keep you from practicing your religion. What we're doing is following the Constitution. What we're doing is we're enforcing that because you are trying to enforce your religion on, say, my children, which I don't want. If they end up being religious, okay, I don't care. That's up to them. But I want them to decide. I want them to decide later in life when they have the knowledge and understanding to gain knowledge and understanding of the very religion that they might consider following. If I got 6 kids, I could have a Muslim, a Hindu, an atheist, a Christian, a Jew. I mean, I could have all of them. A Satanist. I might have an actual Satanist. But he's an atheistic Satanist. So that's a different thing. Look, these people on the right, and they're always on the right. I've not heard anybody on the left make these kind of stupid arguments because they think the left is the enemy. The left is not the enemy. Technically, the right isn't the enemy either, but they're working their way to it because they're coming up with these outrageous claims. And they're, trigger words like socialism and communism and atheism and Soros and then you have the crazies of the crazies, the Jewish space lasers, Antifa are fascists, which is laughable. I'll explain it again. Antifa stands for anti-fascism. So you're calling a group whose name is an amalgam of anti-fascism, you're calling them fascists. Yet the policies and the practices and the rhetoric that the right uses is fascist leaning, at least. You need to educate yourself on the terminology. There is not one full-on socialist in our government. The one that they call socialist is Bernie Sanders, but he's not. He's a social democrat. Okay, there's a big difference because socialists are post-capitalistic socialists in general. When you talk about socialist, okay, same thing with communists. They're post-capitalistic communists, but they're not Marxist communists, okay? Most of them are not the ones you talk about, the ones you label. They're not even communists. And communism has not actually been practiced in this world, not yet. If you actually know what Marx says in his idea of communism, you would know that. But you don't know that because you don't pay attention because you just want to use trigger words. Communism is the means of protection owned by the state. Socialism means of protection owned by the people. Capitalism is the means of protection owned by the individual. That's all that is. Economic theories. And the most socialist we are is that we want certain things left off of the table for capitalism. So things like healthcare. Healthcare should not be a profit-driven venture. It creates massive harm to humanity. I would almost say crimes against humanity. What else is there? I just totally forgot what I was talking about. I just got off work, so I'm a little tired. Anyways, yeah, the whole thing is just, it's messed up, really. Right, we want things off the table. Education should be left off the table, because we want our country to grow. We want our economy to grow. So certain things that are burdensome to the general population, and which are could be considered wrong or unproductive for our country, would be capitalizing on education and healthcare for just a few things right there. A universal basic income, that might be something we have to implement here soon, just to keep things moving. But here's the thing, people need money to spend. If they're not getting paid enough to spend money, then the market doesn't work. Capitalism starts to fail. The problem is instead of paying their employees more across the board, and that means multiple companies doing that very thing, they decide, well, our numbers are down, but we want our numbers to go up, so we're just going to rob from our employees. We're going to pay them less. We're going to cut their benefits. So they have less money to spend, and it's spiraling down. God's not going to fix any of that. The problem in our country is greed and corruption. God is not going... The people that are pushing the God thing are the ones that are the corrupted ones. It's that simple. I mean, this is not rocket science by any stretch. Excuse me. This is basic understanding of our Constitution, of our economy, of how this country needs to work. And these people have no understanding of it. None whatsoever. All they know is talking points, and that's it, really. I mean, I have not seen in them come up with anything original. It's the same freaking talking points. Just like the guy started going in talking about Soros. What the fuck does Soros have to do with anything? What the hell does God have to do with anything? Who's God? There's literally thousands, if not millions, of gods that are worshipped around the world by multiple different religions and tribes and all kinds of stuff. You're talking about just Christianity? Well, I mean, not everybody's Christian, bud. Not everybody believes in the same God that you believe in. You know, that's why this guy just doesn't get it. He's pushing a narrative, and generally this is like religious groups in this country that are trying to push their agenda onto everybody else. Okay? I don't want my kids being force-fed a religion. I don't want them. I mean, if my wife wants to take them to church or something like that, fine, whatever. That's just whatever that is. You know, I'm not going to go. I don't believe in that stuff. My wife still kind of does, but not really. She's kind of, as they like to say, she's kind of more spiritual, I guess. But, I mean, what is that exactly, you know? What does that mean when you're more spiritual and you're not necessarily super religious? What does that mean, huh? We really need to work on stopping these people coming in here and spewing this kind of rhetoric, trying to push their religion onto the masses, because not everybody wants that. And our Constitution says that we're secular, and secularism means that you have the freedom to worship how you feel you need to worship. Secularism means that you are not beholden by any state religion. The government cannot establish a state religion. In other words, when it comes to the issue of governing, when it comes to how we run this country, we need to leave religion out of the picture. Why? Because I want the freedom to believe in what I want to believe. I want the freedom for you to believe in what you want to believe. But I don't want you to have the authority or ability to push your religion onto me or onto my children. I think that's fair. I think that's justifiable. I think that nobody should be forced to follow anything that they don't want to. You know, if you want to spend your life worshiping a god or something like that, that's all fine and dandy. That's your choice. Just don't expect me to do it. Don't try to force that onto me, because that's not the American way. That's not freedom. That's not secularism. That's authoritarianism. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand, is that religion, by its very nature, is necessarily authoritarian. I don't know how to reset button. And a lot of people, they don't know it. They don't pay attention to that. And they sometimes they just don't want to, because because they're afraid that if they go against the authoritarian edicts of religion, that they're going to go to hell. I don't think that's the case. I think that I believe in the Bible, in the religion, it says that obey man's law, right? Not God's law. Obey man's law and God's law if you're a religious person. Anyways, I feel like I'm just rambling on. Probably am. It's what I do. But this guy's completely wrong. This guy has no idea what America is about, and what he's doing and what he's promoting is not American. It's anti-American. And honestly, we need to fight against that, because that's just going to cause problems for us. So, no, he's wrong. Everything he said in that first, minute of the video is wrong. Soros has nothing to do with it. Secularism is good. Secularism makes it so that he can worship what he wants. You can worship what you want. I can worship what I want. And nobody in the government can tell us what we have to worship. It's that simple. So I can't stand these religious fuckers. And yeah, they're fuckers because they want to fuck you with religion. They want to force it down your throat. They cannot understand the concept of freedom and letting people do what they want to do, so long as they're not hurting anybody. I mean, that's a pretty simple concept, and it's not radical at all. So anyways, I gotta go get a headlight. I'll see you in the next one.